All right, good evening. We are here today to do a forum for two of the positions in Cumberland City that are running. We have a mayor election and we have Ward 1 Alderman election going on as well. Here today we have Mr. Phillip Taylor for mayor. And then for Ward 1 Alderman, we have Melissa Dunlop-Cross and Miss Lydia Spenser. Chad Mathis is also a third candidate for Ward 1 Alderman, however, he's not here this evening. Tonight we are going to go ahead and go through and have the opportunity to ask each of the candidates questions, and we are going to allow 2 minutes per question. You will get a 30-second warning when your time is almost up. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start with introductions. Miss Lydia Spenser, you're at the end of the table. You can go ahead and go first.
I picked the wrong seat again. My name is Lydia Spenser-Spenser, and I'm originally from Newport, Rhode Island. We moved to Nashville, Tennessee in 1987, and then we moved up here during the COVID. We bought an old Victorian home on the corner of Wallace and Cumberland City, and we've been busy getting that back into condition. So, I think that's it.
Okay. Mr. Phillip Taylor.
My name's Phillip Taylor. My friends call me Phil, and I'm running for mayor. I'll be talking some more as we go about myself.
And Miss Melissa Dunlap-Cross.
Well, I'm Melissa Dunlap-Cross. I was born and raised here, so I'm a Cumberland City native. I attended school over here at the W.T. Thomas School, started there when I was in Head Start, and stayed till 5th grade. And my family was born and raised in this area, so I have a lot of family history in this area, know a lot about this area. I'm also a military veteran. I did leave here when I joined the military and when I went to college at Trevecca for 2 years after I graduated high school. So, and I'm a talker, a friendly person. I don't meet any strangers. Most of the people around here, I think I know them, they know me, so.
And I'm going to go ahead and lead with you. So why are you running for your position?
I'm running for this position because growing up here, I knew what it was like here. Me and my siblings, we loved running around here, playing, whether it was going fishing, going to school, or going down the hill, play with our cousins, or whatever. But I just remember how it was here, and I know how it can be. Because it kind of saddens me when I walk around or drive around here now, like how it looks, how it's become, and I know it can be better.
Okay. Mr. Phillip Taylor, why are you running for your position?
I'm not from Cumberland City, but 34 years ago I was blessed to marry Alexis Holly, and she is a Cumberland City native. So since that time, I've lived here, and we've raised 7 children in this city, and of course it means a lot to us, not just the city, the whole community, and we want to see it improve. Just like Melissa said, we want to see some things get better. There's been a long period of time and not much change, but I do feel like change is coming. And I think I would like to be a part of steering that.
Ms. Spencer, why are you running for your position?
Well, like Phil, I'm not a native from here. When we moved here because it was a small small city, and the people are close together and involved in each other's lives. And also, when we first moved here, we started attending the monthly meetings with the mayor and the alderman. And we wanted to be a part of the community. And so after the meetings, one of the other people that also was at the meetings, we'd get together and we'd discuss things. And so we were discussing, and this person just said to me, he said, if there's ever opening for alderman, I want you to run for it. And he looked at my husband, he says, you're too easy, don't run for it. So I just want to be a part of the community. I want to do what I can to help the people in the community, and maybe help. It needs changes, and being part of that is, it's interesting, and I would like to be part of that also, if I could, and do what I can to help the community.
Thank you. And Ms. Spencer, what makes you qualified to run for your position, and why do you feel as though you are the best candidate?
I just don't like this question because it says, why are you the best candidate? And I think we're all good candidates for our positions, and so that kind of threw me off when you said it. But as far as qualified, I've been in leadership positions, past and presently. I'm in a leadership position in my church. I come from a large family, and being the oldest sister, and I'm sure Melissa knows this, you can become the leader when you're the big sister. So I've had a lot of experience with that, having 8 siblings. Like I said, I want to be involved in the community in any way that I can, and do my best to help the community.
Mr. Taylor, what makes you qualified to run for your position, and why do you feel as though you're the best candidate?
Again, like Lydia said, I don't know that I'm the best, but I'm the only one. So, like I said before, I've lived here 30 plus years. My wife is a native. My children are all natives. We love this community. I worked a mile and a half from my driveway to my parking spot at the plant for 20-something years. And then after I retired, I worked for several more. So 30 plus years I've worked for TVA, and during that time I've managed a few high budget projects, and I've learned a little bit about leadership there, and I would like to use the skills that I've learned there to help improve this city.
Thank you. And Ms. Dunlap Cross, same question. What makes you qualified to run for your position, and why are you the best candidate? I'm just reading them. I know y'all don't care for that second part. But.
Yeah, I know, and I hate to say what they said, but I'm just gonna say the things that I've done and I know I can do. I've been in leadership positions before. In the military, when you become a sergeant rank, they send you to leadership school. So you learn how to lead. You learn how to train others. So I've done that before. I've ran shops before. I've managed retail stores before. And I'm good at organizing things. I'm good at getting things together. But not only do I know I can lead and good at leading, I know to be a good leader, you have to be a good follower, and you have to be a good listener. And I'm one of those that I don't expect or ask anybody to do anything that I myself won't do, even if it's clean a bathroom or clean a floor. So I'm one of those, I'll do anything from the bottom thing that has to be done, the lowest level, to whatever I need to do at the top. So, but I do have experience with doing all those, and in different environments with different things. And I do know a lot about the Cumberland City area, and I do try to help with some of the things that go on around here, so I get to see a lot. And I'm a natural talker, so
20-second warning.
so I do talk to everybody, and I talk to a lot of different people.
Thank you. And Ms. Dunlap Cross, what are the strengths of Cumberland City?
I have to say it's the people, and I say the people because it's the community. It's small, but when things go on around here, the community pulls together. And I say that because I was talking to her about that today. I remember when I was 15 years old and our house burned. Between this community and family and community in Houston County, they pulled together, and we had what we needed, and they helped us out. And that right there, as a 15-year-old teenager that just lost everything, that means a lot, and that meant the world. So it's this community and the people is what I think are the strengths about this little town.
Mr. Taylor, what are the strengths of Cumberland City?
Like Melissa said, the people are definitely a strength. There's a closeness in this community, and that's a great strength. But aside from that, Cumberland City is uniquely positioned on a river. We have a river and river traffic. Cumberland City has a railroad. Cumberland City has a highway that is a main cut through from I-40 to I-24 that a lot of traffic uses to avoid Nashville. So we are uniquely positioned for some growth. And of course, we have the industrial park and some industry. So I think those things right there, and not to mention natural resources. This is a beautiful place. We have access to water. We have access to the wilderness, or the forest. It's somewhat of the gateway to the land between the lakes. If you're coming from the Clarksville, Dixon direction. So anyway, I think there's a lot of strength here, and
10 seconds.
I would like to see it utilized.
Thank you. And Ms. Spencer, what do you think are the strengths of Cumberland City?
I think we're all agreeable. I mean, that's what the people. Not just the people, but a lot of people in Cumberland City, when we talk to people and you mention somebody, oh, I'm related to him, so they're all a family. And when you live in Cumberland City, you become part of that family. And I think that's the strength of Cumberland City. They work together, they enjoy doing things together, and it's just like one big family.
Okay. And Ms. Spencer, what do you think are some of the weaknesses of Cumberland City?
Well, there's a couple I can think of. One is there's no jobs. So, but also there's a lot of buildings that are just falling down and not being taken care of. And I think that's one of the big things we need to do is do what we can to get a hold of the owners and make them responsible for their buildings.
Thank you. Mr. Taylor, what do you think are some of the weaknesses of Cumberland City?
We're small. in some ways, that's a strength. I understand that. But in many ways, it's a challenge. We're small, and therefore we have a small budget. So, I do believe, and I want to be positioned when change and growth comes to make the most of it. But as far as weakness, I feel like our size is and our limits monetarily are the biggest problem.
Ms. Dunlap Cross, same question. What are some weaknesses of Cumberland City?
I have to say also size, the fact that it is small, the fact that there aren't any jobs here. I say anymore, no restaurants, and there's nothing for like young people, families to do around here. Nothing for the community to get together and do, and I think that's a major weakness.
So after this election, there will be a new mayor and one new council member afterward. Ms. Dunlap Cross, do you feel that this will be a substantial change for the city? And if so, a good change?
I think it'll be, it'll be a substantial change. A good change? Yeah, I think it'll be a good change. I know a lot of them will be younger, which I think will be a great thing, because it means new ideas. Not being me when I say this. There's a lot of things that younger people can come up with or do, whereas some people that are a little bit older might not necessarily be able to do. But I think it'll be a great and a positive thing, especially new ideas, and hopefully some restoration and a little bit of growth would be, I think, would be good.
Thank you. Mr. Taylor, do you feel that these new members will be a substantial change for the city? And if so, a good change?
Yes, I do, and I agree with Melissa. New ideas, that's what we need, and I believe these ideas, if we come together, we talk, work together, that we can come up with some ways to make things better, even though we're limited. The opportunities will come. There's going to be some growth. It's just a matter of whether we're ready for it or not. So yes, I think it's going to be good.
Thank you. Ms. Spencer, do you feel as though the new members will be a substantial change for the city? And if so, a good change?
Yes to both questions, and I agree with everything they've said. The only thing I can add to that is, having attended lots of the meetings for the last few years, I think the city is due for a change, and I think it's going to be a good change.
Thank you. Ms. Spencer, what will your priorities be for the position if you win your seat?
My priority is to advocate with and for the people. And I mean, being an alderman, that's what my job is, to make sure that their needs and things are, I will speak for them.
Mr. Taylor, same question. What are your priorities for the position to win your seat, if you win your seat?
At this point, I think my priority is going to be to learn and understand what it takes to manage this city. They're doing that, the priorities will change. But before I do anything, before I can really say, I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna do that, I've got a little bit to learn.
Ms. Dunlap Cross, what will your priorities be if you win your seat?
Talking to people in the area that I'm representing and see what it is they want, what they need, what improvements are they gonna voice their opinions about, and you know, of course, take that and bring it to the mayor and the board and go from there. But just kind of be their voice and their listening ear and just kind of stand up for what it is that they want.
Ms. Dunlap Cross, what are your short-term goals and your long-term goals if elected?
Short term, I would have to say, talk to people a little more than I do right now. Get a few more of the issues and problems that they have around here, and hopefully compile that into a list. And try to see what, and this will be long-term, about moving forward, hopefully to improve the town and hope to rebuild it and make it look nice and inviting and show the love that the people have here, make the town look like that. And, you know, work on the complaints and the list of whatever it is that people have that they want to see done in the town or improved in the town is what my plan is for the long term.
Mr. Taylor, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
It sort of goes back to the preceding question. I have a learning curve that I have to work through before I can just really start nailing things down. But short term, I think right off the bat, in my work experience, I've learned that teamwork is very productive. And what I would like to do is work with this Board of Commissioners or councilmen and develop a team and utilize those new ideas. Do some brainstorming, figure out just how we need to position Cumberland City for what's coming. So that's my short term. Long term, I want to see some stuff cleaned up. I want some things removed from our town that need to be removed. And I would love to see growth. Some more people coming in and a focus out there on the industrial park. Some growth there.
Ms. Spencer, what are your short-term and long-term goals if you are elected?
Well, my short-term goal is to learn what it is, my responsibilities and my duties as an alderman. You know, I've been checking online and nothing tells you anything. And so in order to do the job, I'm going to have to learn to do that. My long-term jobs is like Phil said here, is to work together as a council and you know, find out what are the things we need to do. What's the first thing, where to start and what to do, but work together as kind of as one, not just as 5 separate people.
All right. There are some challenges for Cumberland City in that the population of the city has not changed in over 30 years. In 1990, the population was 319, and this year it was 314. Ms. Spencer, do you think that is a good thing, a bad thing, or neither?
Well, if you look back at more statistics, right now it's a good thing because like on here it says in 1990 we had 319 population. In 2024 we have 314, but if you look back, starting in 2000 we had 316, and since then it's been going up. 2021 it's been 312, 2022 314. For some reason there's no statistics on 2023, but this year we're up to 315. So we're going uphill. So it's a good thing, and I think with the growth in Clarksville, when they get full, people got to live somewhere. They're going to come here. So we're going to continue to grow. I see that scale going up.
Thank you. Mr. Taylor, do you feel as though the population not changing in the past 30 years is a good, bad, or neither thing?
I think it's a bad thing. I think we need to grow. And I think that's happening now. And I think that's going to increase. As Clarksville grows, there's going to be expansion. We're seeing it now. There are several houses being built in the city right now. So we are going to grow. It's sort of like what we were talking about in the previous question on our priorities. We're going to have to, working as a team, prioritize how we go about affecting the growth. Or, I guess that's right. What can we do that will optimize the growth? The growth is coming.
Thank you. Ms. Dunlap-Cross, do you feel as though the lack of change in the city's population is good, bad, or neither?
I have to agree with Phil and say to me it's a bad thing. And I say it's a bad thing because, I mean, I know y'all only have the census for 1990, but I know growing up here, there used to be a lot of young people here, a lot of kids here. And when you have young people and you have kids, that means growth. That means more people. That's why we had things here like restaurants. You know, we had the school and there was other things for people to do. So for it to really not change that much since 1990, to me that's a bad thing. But yeah, hopefully it'll grow because yeah, other areas around here are growing. You have Houston County's growing, Dover is growing, Montgomery County's growing out into Palmyra, which eventually all of that should reach this area, and it's going to come eventually, but it's just a matter of, is this little town going to be ready for it? And I think we can be ready for it.
And Ms. Dunlap-Cross, what do you see happening to the city after the TVA steam plant downsizes to gas turbine engines and needs only a fraction of the current workforce?
Well, I know TVA has been here a little longer than I've been alive. I know I remember being here since way back when. I know they're not going to need as many employees as they have now because they're not going to need as many to work. I know it's going to kind of hurt this area because you're not going to have the people going to the stores. You're not going to have the people renting the places to stay. renting the places to park their campers. So it's gonna kind of hurt the little mom and pop businesses that are here. They're not gonna have that income anymore. But hopefully before they're gone, hopefully other things can have grown in its place, like the industrial park, to bring jobs here, to bring more people here. And hopefully that'll help cover some of what's gonna be lost from the steam plant, because this area it's gonna lose a lot. It's gonna lose the people, the income, and I mean, it's survived on it for, I know, 50 years more. It's survived on it. So I don't even know what Cumberland City would be like without it. And I mean, me personally, I wonder about the fish. I wonder about the fish. Because, you know, you get great catfish here, great bass, because the steam plant's there, all that nice warm water. So what's going to happen to the fish when it's gone is what I'm curious about. But
Thank you. Mr. Taylor, what do you see happening to the city after the steam plant downsizes and needs only a fraction of the current workforce?
I could talk about this for a long time, but I won't. I will say that Cumberland City, again, is a unique place and sits in a unique position. As far as our city limits is concerned, there aren't that many people that work in that plant. It is definitely going to be a negative impact on the surrounding community. It is. For Cumberland City, as long as I've lived in Tennessee, Cumberland City's been dominated. The skyline has been one thing, a powerhouse. And that's fixing to change. And I believe with teamwork and prioritizing some things, that could be turned into a plus for our city. Again, I know most of the people out there, most of them come from other areas, and I hate to see those jobs go. But it may not be as negative for Cumberland City as it is for some of the areas around.
Ms. Spencer, what do you see happening to the city after the steam plant downsizes and needs only a fraction of the current workforce?
I'm not sure how any of this works, because it's still going to be the TVA, and the TVA is still going to be paying taxes. Is that going to affect our tax base any? If not, it's not going to be really affect us as hard as it could have if it just shut down. We're still going to be getting that tax base that they're giving us now. People will lose jobs. I don't have an answer for that, but hopefully as a council we can work on that.
Good lead into the next question. Ms. Spencer, does Cumberland City need growth of its tax base and population to succeed in the future?
Yes. And I think we're going to get that, because with the cities around us growing, again, like we've said before, people are going to migrate this way. And like Phil said, we've got new houses that are going up. Also, like Miss Lottie Dunlap's old house, somebody bought that, fixed it up. So it's no longer falling apart, and if we can get more people to come in and do that, and I know Phil Taylor has done that with several houses in the neighborhood, and that helps, improve the beauty of the city, and also it brings in more taxes.
Mr. Taylor, does Cumberland City need growth of its tax base and population to succeed in the future?
Yes. That's it.
Ms. Dunlap Cross?
Yes, to both the tax base and the population. The tax base, because, you know, that's the money the city is gonna need to survive on and function. But you have to get more people here to increase that income, and hopefully that will help to, you know, be able to afford things like paved roads, restoration of buildings like your city hall and things like that, and hopefully to get rid of some of the buildings and the houses that are falling apart around here. Because it would be nice to see them restored, renewed. Some of them, it would be unfortunate for them to be knocked down, but you know they'll have to be. But yes to both of those, because they need each other.
And Ms. Dunlap Cross, would you like to see industry in the Stewart Houston Industrial Park that could provide more jobs so that residents could stay local to work and to spend their money?
Yes. Yes, I do. I know that industrial park has been over there for a very, very long time. And it's mostly been empty land sitting there. And to me, as kind of in the middle generation, that's kind of a sad thing. I know when I first started working here, my first job was at Cumberland City Diner, when they had a restaurant here. It was my very first job, because we had a restaurant here. And then I left that one, and I went to McGee's, the other restaurant that was here, and I worked at that one. So as a young person growing up, teenager, first job, I had a job here. I have a 15-year-old daughter. There's no job for her to get in this town like I did when I was that age. There's nobody that, oh, well, I know your family, to give her an opportunity at a job. After that, the next job I got, I went to Erin. I had to go to Erin. I worked retail over there at the dollar store. That was my very first retail job. After that, you know, you're stuck with, I had to go all the way to Clarksville to the mall to get a job. And that's not a fun drive at the age of 17, 18-year-old and driving back and forth at night. And I did it for years. I did it for a long time. If you can't get a job here, you've got to go to Dixon or Waverly, or some drive all the way to Nashville. So it would be nice to see jobs over there. I know they have jobs on the Houston County side. There's a lot more jobs on the Houston County side. But on the Cumberland City side, there's hardly anything. But it's just sad that young people have to drive so far, spend all that money, all that time, to drive somewhere else for a good paying job just to survive and take care of their family every day.
Mr. Taylor, would you like to see industry in the Stewart Houston Industrial Park that could provide more jobs so that residents could stay local to work and to spend their money?
That's a very good question. And the answer is yes. I agree with Melissa. It would be wonderful to have some jobs, more jobs, good paying jobs, so people didn't have to travel. I had to travel too when I was young. And so I think going back to the priorities question, long-term priorities as a board, I think that should be one of them, to try to attract that kind of business in the city limit side of the industrial park. So that will be one of our goals.
And Ms. Spencer, would you like to see industry in the Stewart Houston Industrial Park that could provide more jobs so that residents could stay local to work and spend their money?
I agree with everybody else, yes. Another point is if we had more jobs, people, as their children grow, they get married, they want to move away because there's no jobs for them to stay here and raise a family and have a home. So if we have more jobs, they may want to stay. And so I had another thought, but it kind of flew out the window. So, yeah, but yeah, it's and we will have places, like I said here, to spend our money, because then the taxes that we spend in our county, our city, will be used on our city, not down in Erin, not up in Palmyra or Clarksville. The tax money that we spend will come back to our city.
Ms. Spencer, how do you think most city residents, and specifically your district, feels about growth in the area?
Well, I would like to have a sit down with them and find that out, because we haven't had much chance to do that. We went knocking on doors to get signatures, and weren't thinking about this kind of stuff. We did talk to some people, and a lot of people. Some of these people I spoke to, don't mind if it stays a small town. Other people know how important it is for us to grow. So.
Mr. Taylor, how do you think most city residents, and your district specifically, feels about growth in the area?
I don't really know. I have heard from some, and I will say this, I think there's from what I have heard from talking to people, a smaller group that say they like it is. I think I've heard more people saying we would like to see some growth. And we don't have a very large sampling of the community in here tonight, but we do have a sampling. If you want growth, raise your hand. If you would not like to grow, raise your hand. That's it. I think more people would like to see it. It's only going to help the city.
For those who didn't see on camera, it was 100% that said that they would like to see the growth. All right, Ms. Dunlap Cross, how do you think most city residents, and specifically your district, feels about growth in the area?
Well, the few I've talked to, I've gotten a little bit of both. More want to see the growth. More of the young people would like to see jobs here, restaurants to go out and eat in, things to do. Some of the older ones would like to see it restored and look a whole lot better than what it does right now. And I mean, that's what few people I've talked to, because like I said, I'm a talker. So I talk to people quite a bit. My mom's always telling me you talk too much, so. But that's been one thing people have said to me is they do want to see a little bit of growth here.
Ms. Dunlap Cross, you brought up the word restoration a couple times, and there's some really beautiful areas within the Cumberland City River region. Some of these areas have been vandalized and abused. How would you address that issue?
Well, some of the areas I know they've been working on. I know they have the Gracious Creek area that is an area, families can go, they can have a picnic, they can go fishing and do all that. And I know they've been having problems with vandalism in that area. I know a lot of the places that I've been, being a military person, and you go different places. A lot of the things I was involved with was, we did a lot of cleanup. We would go to a lot of the areas that looked bad or that people vandalized, and we would start to clean them up, make them look nicer, repair some of the things there. And I know they've been doing that here, repairing like the picnic tables, putting the trash cans out there. A lot of lighting, especially for night, is always a great thing, because that'll deter people from wanting to go out there late night and vandalize, because you can see them and they don't want you to see them. And it's another way too to pull community together and get the community involved, because to me that's an important thing too, is to have community involved, because if the community helps and the community uses it, they'll help keep it nice, and they'll, you know, say something if somebody is there vandalizing it or tearing it apart. But yeah, we do have a lot of beautiful areas here, spaces, or what I want to call secluded spots. I mean, even to me, just the woods is nice, but it would be nice to do more of the trash pickup, the cleanup, you know, just show pride in your community, in your area. And that does help with people wanting to vandalize, because they'll be less likely to, because it looks nice. And they know you're going to be able to tell if they do it.
Mr. Taylor, how would you address the issue of the vandalism?
Well, speaking in a city limits aspect, we have an outstanding chief of police and police officer. And I know as far as inside the city limits, where in their jurisdiction, they're going to take care of that kind of thing. Some of and just like Melissa said, and one of the strengths of our area are the natural resources. We have some boat docks, boat ramps. They're beautiful. I utilize them. They're amazing. Our woodlands are amazing. We're blessed. And it bothers me if I see somebody tearing that up. They're not under our control, the ones outside the city limits, but we can reach out to the people that do have authority over those. We can help them. I will say this too, because I take care of a piece of ground right on 149. I mow and clean it up, and I pick up trash all the time. 149 is vandalized all the time by people throwing trash out the window. And I would love to figure out a way to keep that clean, and I'm working on it.
Thank you. Ms. Spencer, how would you address the issue of the vandalism?
Well, I've been volunteering on the Park and Rec Committee, which has been reactivated since September 2023, and they have been addressing this issue. One of the examples is Geisers Creek, and that's been brought up in the town meetings, and I know Police Chief Rick, he's been checking into all that, and another thing, it does come to community involvement. We have scheduled a cleanup twice, and twice have had to cancel it because we need more involvement of the citizens, and I'd like to see more of that. Phil mentioned within the city, I have a good example for you. The house we bought was built in 1908 and had sat vacant for years. When we bought the house, there were syringes in the walls and in the ceiling. It was vandalized. Someone broke in one time and stole all the electrical wiring to get cash. At that time, because of community involvement, the neighbors were able to call the police and the man was caught. So community involvement works many ways, and it's inside the city and also outside the city. And my way of addressing it right now is I'm working with the Parks and Rec Committee, and if I get elected, I will continue to work with the Parks and Rec Committee. Okay.
Ms. Spencer, do you ever see bringing back lighting up the Cumberland as something in Cumberland City's future? This was something that brought in income via tourism dollars, correct?
Yes, it did, and yes, even before I got on the Parks and Rec Committee, one of my big things was we need to bring this back, and I didn't bring it up at some of the council meetings, and I was told, well, you don't know how expensive that is. And so hopefully with the Parks and Rec, we're working to raise money to bring that back. and work with some of our neighbors who do beautiful fireworks displays, and maybe get the city to work with them, and it's going to take a while to get that going again, but we're working on it. We can work at it as a park and rec, and we can work on it with the Board of Mayor and Aldermen.
Mr. Taylor, do you see bringing back lighting up the Cumberland?
I would like to see lighting up the Cumberland brought back, but I believe it has to be self-funding. It is very expensive. I think there was a small amount of money brought in with it, but with teamwork, new ideas, and some determination, I think we could probably come up with a way that we could fund it without taking away from other things that we have in the city.
Ms. Dunlap Cross, same question. Do you see bringing back lighting up the Cumberland?
I say yeah, and I say that because lighting up the Cumberland, for my family, kind of has a special, it's kind of a special thing. Like me and my siblings, all of our kids grew up going to that. Because that was something that my dad started, and it was something that we all went to as a family. We'd all get together down there, put our blankets down, and we still have the pictures of all the kids when they were toddlers. So it was an amazing, and it was a fun thing. And yeah, it's expensive, very expensive, and it's a lot of hard work. I know I went down there a couple of times and helped Dad set up for it, and I couldn't believe the amount of work it took, but it did. But when it was all together, it was awesome. It was a really awesome thing. It was beautiful how it pulled the community together. You got all the community down there all day, going to all the little events and doing all the food and stuff like that. And then you got the community all together at night to watch all the beautiful fireworks. And like Lydia was saying, because I've been helping out with the Parks and Rec a little too, and we did talk about the lighting over the Cumberland, and we did talk about bringing something back. Maybe not as big and extravagant as that to start out with, but to build up to and start working toward doing something. Because I did feel like it was a good thing for Cumberland City. I feel like it brought people here, because a lot of people, they would come from other areas to see that every year. So I thought it was a good thing. And it does bring your different vendors, your different families, and stuff here. So, I mean, to me, anything that shines light on your town in a positive way is a great thing. And that's one of those things that it kind of put this little town on the map to me because of that big event every year.
Ms. Dunlap Cross, do you have a plan to address the road issues and some local issues concerning road use and abuse within the Cumberland City boundaries and the industrial park?
To me, the roads around here look horrible. And I say horrible because there's a lot of potholes. There's a lot of patches. There's a lot of roads that they have not been paved in years. They've been patch paved, but not actually paved. And to me, they need to be paved. And I know the city doesn't have a lot of money, but I know there's ways, and I've talked to other people, there are ways to do it. And it helped make the city better, look better, and the roads better. and make it better for people driving on them. I know some roads that have been paved or have gotten paved recently. I know some people have damaged those roads. And to me, that's kind of a shame that you get your road paved by the city, but you damage your road. And the city can't afford to repave it. So I think if they damage it, yeah, I think there needs to be a consequence for that, because, I mean, you're damaging a nice, pretty road the city paid for or got paid, when there's others that need theirs paved, but they can't get it paved because there's no money. And then the industrial park, I know they have a lot of trouble with semis over there at the industrial park. I know there's a lot of problem with them coming down through Main Street. Honestly, to me, the semis shouldn't be coming through Main Street. That's a main little city road. It's a small road. I know they could go around, but I know that has a lot to do with wherever their directions send them. And I know I've been other places, they have signs posted where it's a non-business district. You know, so to me, the trucks, the semis, the heavy vehicles shouldn't be going through there, because that does damage the roads. It tears them apart. It wears them down. And I know, the industrial park, I know there's been a lot of trash over there. There's been stuff that comes off of the trucks when they come out of there, because they're not tying them up correctly and they're not picking up their stuff. And I know they're working on that. I know the police department has been dealing with that problem, but it would be nice to go around, see what roads need to be fixed, and get those roads repaired. It would be really nice. And then, like you said about all the trash being thrown out, it would be nice to get that stopped too. But that's something that everybody would have to work together on.
Mr. Taylor, do you have a plan to address road issues and some of the issues concerning road use and abuse within Cumberland City boundaries, including the industrial park?
I don't have a plan, not yet, but I have been thinking about it. I've been talking with my wife about it. There's a problem. It's one of those things that I want to team up on with the council folks and see what we can do. We're back to we're limited in our budget. We can't just go and throw a couple of $100,000 at a piece of road. So we've got to figure out what we can do and who can help us. And I think that's, like I said, I don't have a plan, but once we get this going, we're going to talk about it a lot. And we are going to come up with a plan to do the best we can. Again, I'm kind of brainstorming here, but I think there's some rerouting that can happen, and hopefully we can get some help to do some repairing of some damage. That's all.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Spencer, do you have a plan to address the road issues and some of the other issues concerning road use and abuse within Cumberland City and the industrial park?
Well, this one's been a sore subject with me ever since they repaved some streets and not other streets. I'm a runner, and I run these streets 3 times a week, and I've been doing that for 5 years. And as they paved these roads, I'm seeing roads that didn't need to be paved, roads that really needed to be paved and looked over. I don't have a plan. I was kind of hoping that was his job when he became mayor. And if I get elected, I look forward to working with him and helping, take care of this situation and helping to do it in a way where we don't have to raise city taxes to put stress on our residents.
Thank you. At this time, we'll go ahead and take questions for the audience. Just a couple of key points is the questions from the audience will be asked to me directly and not the candidates. I maintain the right to refuse questions or to rephrase them and ask the candidates. There will be no personal attacks. All questions will be respectful and related to the position at hand. All right, so do we have any questions from the audience? Yes, sir.
Is there any way that the town council can approach the Dollar General market to see if maybe they can expand and turn that into, instead of a Dollar General convenience store, have an actual Dollar General market? They have some beautiful markets that they build in other areas. That would do a lot for us to be able to spend some real grocery money in town.
Miss Melissa, I'll ask you that since you said you had some retail experience. I'm not sure if that's possible, but if you have any input.
It's a crazy question you just asked because actually I've worked in a Dollar General market before. And the difference between it and a regular dollar store like the one we have down here is the market has a bigger grocery store part on it. So it would mean more groceries in the store. So you wouldn't have to make so many trips to Walmart or to Piggly Wiggly. You could actually buy them right there. And then there's a few more other retail items in the store. I had asked that question when the dollar store was there. I was like, why didn't they make it a market? Because the market would have been great for this town. It would have been perfect. But I don't know if that's something that you could call corporate, or actually talk to whoever's in charge down here and they talk to corporate and see if they could turn it into a Dollar General market instead of a Dollar General. But I know there aren't that many Dollar General markets in this area. I think the closest one is in Clarksville. And I think Clarksville they have, I think, 2 or 3. But they are nice, and it would be nice there.
And that was a unique question, I think.
Can
I was just about to say, I'm not sure if either of you have input, but go ahead, Ms. Spencer.
I'm not sure what help it will do, but I've had this question since they built it. I did email corporate and ask them if they ever considered making it a market, because we have no market in our area, and I said other stuff to them, and asked them if they haven't considered it, would they be willing to check into it? And I never heard back from them, but maybe it could, put a bee in their bonnet.
Mr. Taylor, any input?
I would just say that's a good idea, and we will reach out.
Thank you. Any more questions from the audience?
I have one. I'd like to talk about the road on 401 Congress Street. Where I live at, that's a bad road. People have to slow down when they come to that road to get through there because you have potholes. Something needs to be done.
Okay, and I believe we had gone over some of the things that they had planned as far as for road issues. Do you want to recap what your plans were? I'll go ahead and, Mr. Taylor, your mouth was open, I'll let you.
Just, like I said before, that's something we're gonna, as a team, we're gonna talk about and prioritize. We've got limited funds. I haven't even been there yet. I don't really have an understanding of the budget and the limits. I'm gonna find out, and
I mean, it's a bad road.
I know, I drive up and down through there. I know there was some repaving done. It was done in
Patches.
It was done in
Sections.
2 different phases. Years ago, one part of the town was redone, and then some years later, the other roads were redone. And, you know, you're trying to do the best you can with what you have. And I understand that. It happens all the time. We always have to do that. So, all I can say is give us some time to work together as a group and see what we can do. I can't sit right here and say, hey, I know we can do this. But roads are issues. Roads are very important. And there will be some talking about it.
Do either of our alderman candidates want to touch on that again real
Well,
quick?
Conger was one of the, when I said bad roads, that was one of them. And what really aggravated me about that road was there was one little section of it that they repaved. And in front of certain houses, they did not repave. And that's on the lower part. On the upper part from Thomas to 149, it's still a dirt road.
It is.
So to me, Conger should be put on the top of the list for road repair.
I have my own thoughts about the dirt road. I
I
call that a
can,
national treasure.
I can also say that road, I remember the day they paved that road, that whole road. I remember the day they paved it, because we were standing out there as little kids. But since then, it's never been completely repaved. It's been patched where they've come and dug or whatever. And yeah, what she's talking about, it's pretty bad. People slow, you have to slow down really, really slow, because if you go out there and look at it, it's down to the gravel underneath where it was paved, so it's pretty bad. But I have been talking to some people. They have some information they're gonna bring me, and that's something I'll bring to the board, whether elected or not, because I want to see the roads here repaved, because they do look so bad, and they are terrible. And I know right down here by W.T. Thomas, that's another bad spot. When you come off Main Street and you turn, you have to slow down really slow, because you hit that bump too hard and you're gonna bounce. But that's where it's been paved repeatedly and not so much on the other side. But yeah, I did ask somebody about some information about things for roads and streets and towns, and they're supposed to be bringing me some information. So I'll bring that forward either way.
Thank you. Any more questions from the audience?
Can I do one more?
You can.
It's not a question, because there was discussion about the big trucks going down, up and down Main Street. And I was startled one day to see how many trucks were coming. And a lot of them were coming with the big flammable signs on them and toxic substances. And there's some real dangerous stuff that's coming right up through what's basically a residential area there.
Yes, there is, and that's going to be discussed. I mentioned possible rerouting. I don't know how it all works with state highways,
Yeah.
city roads, TVA. Those trucks aren't just coming through here, they're going somewhere, and they're going over there. So, you know, there's just one thing I learned in all my years at Cumberland City is that sometimes a short conversation can eliminate a lot of problems. And it's just a matter of talking to some people. So there are going to be some conversations. And maybe we can get help in it, even with road repairs. I just don't know how it all works yet.
Yeah.
And I want to find out.
Any more?
Yeah, I wanna ask one more, and that's about sewage up on my hill. It was 3 black families lived on that hill, and we don't have sewage. I don't understand that. We pay taxes.
Yeah.
We should have sewage.
Yeah, I don't know the details on that.
Hey,
I know you don't have it because we've already talked.
yeah, 'cause
And I'll look into that. About why.
Is that 4 homes total then?
huh?
Is that 4 homes total?
3.
3?
It's 3 homes.
That's 3.
Okay, 3. I thought you meant in addition.
It was 3 black families that lived there,
Okay, gotcha.
3 houses. But we pay taxes, but we don't have sewage. I tried to talk to Gary about it, and he always went around that they didn't have no money, but they had money to do everything else,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
And you know, that's something they've been discussing, because that has to do with the water, it has to do with the water lines too. I know they're discussing that, of how to fix that so that they can, so that people that can't get water, like say on Congress Street from Cumberland City, so that they'll be able to get it. But the sewage is tied into that too.
Yeah, they have to go through it.
Yeah. But I know they're trying to get that updated and do something about the water in this whole area.
Yes.
That's been a discussion for a while.
At this time, if there are no more questions, I'm going to allow each candidate no more than 5 minutes to go ahead and cover anything else that they would like to address and make closing remarks. Ms. Lydia, since you went first last time, I'll spare you to the end this go around. So Ms. Dunlap Cross?
Well, I really want to see Cumberland City not disappear off the map. I know for years you could look at an atlas and Cumberland City didn't have a little dot on there. You had to tell people how to find it by telling them how to find Clarksville or somewhere like that. So the day I finally saw it on a map and an atlas, it was a great thing. For me, it was an awesome thing because that was my little town. So I would love to see this town restored. I would like to see it grow into the future, thrive, and survive. Because hopefully one day, when the grandchildren come along, they can see, hey, this is the little town that your grandma grew up in, your great-grandma, your great-granddad. This is your family history right here. And they can see where it's at. And for me, it would be an awesome thing for other people to be able to come and see this little town and experience this. I mean, a few months ago, we went across the ferry. I hadn't been across the ferry in years. But that was an exciting thing for me to get on that ferry, even though it's that little short trip across, but do it across on that ferry. Because to me, it's just, it's cool. It's awesome to be able to walk down the hill from your house and go fishing. That was the greatest thing as a kid. That was something for us to do. To be able to ride your bikes around here. To know your kids are okay. Because you know Billy Bob down there, they don't make sure your kids don't get in trouble. They don't do nothing wrong. And you know they're safe. And I would like to see it look nice. You know, I would like to be able to walk downtown and the buildings look great and the area look nice, and for other people to be able to see that and enjoy that and come here and explore it and see all the history here and all the great things and all the people here, because it is a great little town. It is an awesome little town. It's a great community. And I want to be part of that. And I would like to be able to help do that. And to be able to work with all the different generations here, not just the young generation, but the younger, the old generation, and the generation to come. Would be an awesome thing.
Thank you. Mr. Taylor?
First, I want to thank you for moderating this and giving up your time to come down here and do this. Tina, I would like to thank you for what you do. You bring information to the citizens, not just Cumberland City, all around. And that you work very hard at it, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
All the stuff we talked about, I'm anxious and excited to see improvement in this little community. It's a wonderful place. It's actually, I said, the dirt roads, it is a city treasure. Nobody has dirt roads anymore. We got one, and a ferry. And so, how can we utilize those things? There's new ideas. We're gonna talk, and we're going to come up with ways. How can we pave roads that we don't have money for? There's a lot of money out there in this world. So I think if we work and we talk and we reach out, we will find out that we can do more than we think. And so, as long as we're doing that and improving, it may be a little bit at a time, but that's what I want to see happen. And if I forgot about it earlier, but if I had a long-term goal for this town, it would be a K-5 school. That's what I would love to see. And I'm praying for it, and I'm believing that it's going to happen. So I'm anxious to work with this board and do just what I just got through talking about. And thank you again.
Thank you. Ms. Spencer?
Well, I thank you two for both what you do too. You're trying to educate the citizens of the town and make them more aware of what's going around. And I'm looking forward to working with the mayor and fellow aldermen if I get elected. My main concern is I want to be a support to the citizens. I want them to know that I'm available for them and I'm an advocate for them. I want to help Cumberland City grow. I would like to see a school here someday so the kids that live here don't have to ride an hour to go to school in Dover. So hopefully we can grow this city so that we will have enough children that we can have a school. But it's important to me. I want to interact with the people and be their advocate, and I want to share my passion of Cumberland City with them. I had read somewhere that a lot of politicians have what they call a leadership philosophy, and that's it. My philosophy is to interact, work with the people, and to share my passion of Cumberland City.
Thank you. And once again, that was Miss Lydia Spenser for Ward 1 Alderman, Mr. Phillip Taylor for Cumberland City Mayor, and Miss Dunlap, sorry, I keep wanting to say Dunlap Cross, also for Ward 1 Alderman. Residents will have until October 31st to do early voting, and the actual election will take place on November 5th. Stewart County Streaming wants to thank the candidates for taking their time to come out and speak with us, as well as the audience members for coming out as well, too.
And I want to say also, I want to recognize Mr. Alex Short, who is one of the aldermen for Cumberland City, and he's running for election, and he is the only person, so he is going to be it. He probably should have been up there, but I'm glad that you're here now. I think we pretty much know you. And Miss Alexis Taylor is District 7, one of their commissioners here in Cumberland City and across the river. And thank you to everybody else who came out too. And thank you guys the most. We couldn't have done it without you. And Chelsea, wonderful job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.